Hey everybody, welcome back. It is the Razzball Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I am Beaton, joined by the Fantasy Master Lothario. Gray Albright. Happy Memorial Day, Gray. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? Happy Memorial Day. I had a idea. I think I figured out something. So, all right, you know how there's now every pitcher is only going 4 2/3.
Yeah, it's been over the last few seasons. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I have an idea. So you know how there's they do the opener guy, right? So instead of an opener, what if we have a guy who comes in at 4 2/3 innings every time to get the win, like the win guy? one guy becomes the win guy, right? It can be anyone, really. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Jason Adam. Let's say Jason Adam becomes the win guy, right? So he gets, say, 300 wins roughly in I don't know, say like 10 years. So for 10 years, he becomes the win guy. And Jason Adam racks up the wins over, 300 appearances, comes in at 4 2/3 every time and gets a win. So he becomes the win guy. So he gets 300 wins. And then I feel like at that point, Major League Baseball would start changing the win stat to be a different, to become a little bit more reasonable rather than have a guy break Cy Young's record by having 512 wins. What do you think? Is it something? Because I'm still writing up the change the win stat on petition.org, but I'm trying to figure out something because I'm so sick of guys going 4 2/3 innings. It's really this is out of control. And then to have a guy come in and throw 1/3 of an inning and get the win. What are they doing? You can, if you're a official scorer and you're listening to this, please, for the love of God, please look at the score and look at the pitching. And if a guy throws, say, I don't know, 75 pitches and gets pulled at 4 2/3, and another guy throws 3 pitches and gets the win, maybe you give the guy who threw 4 2/3 the win and not the guy who threw 1/3 of an inning. What are we doing? Why can't we do this?
Gray, we can't do it because that's how it's been done in baseball, and we can't change things in baseball. That's not really allowed. So obviously, we can't change how we handle stats at all. No, I think maybe the better thing is just to come up with a better stat than wins and just use that as a replacement moving forward.
I don't even think that I know some people play in quality start leagues and one love, but I don't even think that's the fix that people really think it is. I really don't, because there's so few quality starts. Then it becomes you're so weighted towards getting really good starters that it becomes a totally different game where you have guys who are now suddenly say a Will Warren or something throws 5 1/3 and gets 11 Ks. And that gets punished. It's still punishing the wrong thing. I don't think it really fixes everything, the quality start leagues.
No, I agree.
I do think, I really think though, if you had, instead of an opener, if you had a win guy come in at 4 2/3, I really think that people would stop. They would start thinking about the win stat a little bit. They would start reflecting on the win stat a little more when you have guys like Jason Adam get 30 wins a season, and people would be like, whoa. I think that would stop things. And suddenly people in MLB front office would be like, hold on, Jason Adam got what? He got 38 wins last year? Hold on a second. We got to do something about the win stat. I really think this would change things. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
Maybe Gray. I agree. The quality start isn't really a great pivot. 6 innings, 3 earned is It's a 4.5 ERA. I don't know. You should get rewarded for that. I know that in like my old nobody wanted to play this year. Nobody wanted to win my money for free. But in the old win beat ons money league, it's a head-to-head categories where I make stuff up as I go. We've used Game Score a couple times as our replacement for wins and quality starts, and that at least keeps it interesting. But it's a hard stat to kind of track sometimes unless you're really kind of getting into it and figuring out.
Well, that's the that's my biggest problem with like quality starts. I think a problem for quality starts, but that's my biggest problem with these other like funky leagues, like Game Score League or error leagues, or I don't know what. Anytime you get into or like even like I'm in one league that's K minus walks, right? And it's like that's fine, but also once you have to start thinking about like a category in a way that doesn't like it's not easy to think about by just looking at like the score of the game or the box score. Even like once you have to start really like doing math, I feel like then suddenly it becomes less fun. That just might be revealing my stupidity. I don't know. I honestly, though, speaking of my stupidity, I do think that I have uncovered something that I do think people think I'm dumber than I might be, or maybe I am. Maybe I am that dumb. But like someone in one of my leagues offered me Mick Abel for Hunter Green, and I'm like, what? Am I the idiot in this league? How are you offering me Mick Abel for Hunter Green? Now, granted, it's a keeper league, but still, Mick Abel for Hunter Green? Like, what? Are we crazy here? Like, what are we like? Oh my God! Like, I am the moron, apparently.
Well, if I've learned anything in a keeper league or in dynasty leagues, it is that there is no such thing as an offer that is too bad to send, because you will receive any and every possible offer for anybody and everybody on your team, regardless of how good or bad it looks. I mean, what do you want, Gray? I mean, he went 6 innings, 9 strikeouts in his first start. Obviously, he's going to do that the rest of his career.
I mean, it is a keeper with prices, and I have Mick Abel, I think is $1, and Hunter Green is like $25, but $25 isn't even a lot for Hunter Green. I don't know, man. I'm really, I've stumbled on a few moments of clarity in the last couple hours, and one of those is I realize everyone just thinks I'm dumb. So that's one moment of clarity I've had.
I can't say what it is, Gray. Maybe it's the laugh. Maybe the laugh is throws everybody off.
If you're watching this on YouTube, maybe it was the fact that in the last 30 seconds, I opened a can of seltzer and it exploded all over my computer. If we suddenly go dead in the middle of this podcast, it's because I just exploded a seltzer all over me.
Yep, and there's Gray is not IT support, so he will have to call somebody to come look at it, and that'll take some time. So yeah, let's get as much in as we can before your computer shorts out, Gray. Let's look at a couple call-ups. A big one for this week: Marcelo Mayer called up by Boston. We said that we thought he had moved ahead of Roman Anthony in opportunity for a call-up, and that has happened. AAA this year, 43 games, 193 plate appearances. He has 9 home runs, 2 stolen bases. He is hitting 271, 347, 471. He has a 19.7% K rate and a 10.4% walk rate. What are your thoughts on Marcelo Mayer? Is he a pickup across every league? And it looks like so far, he started at third base in both games. He moved to short in both games as well. What are your thoughts here in regards to Mayer?
Well, I was surprised. I was actually able to get him in Fab in one league. I think I bid $1 and I got him. That was surprising to me. I guess everyone just assumes he's only up for as long as Bregman is on the IL. But while that could be true, if he hits, I'm sure they're going to make room for him. I mean, Trevor Story's just been awful. Basically, unusable, even for real baseball. Like he's just been really bad. Sorry, I'm wiping seltzer off my computer screen. Anyway, I think so. I think Mayer could be potentially sent down when Bregman returns, but the Red Sox also said Bregman had a serious strain of the quad, so that's at least 2 to 3 weeks. So if Mayer has 2 to 3 weeks to show off what he can do, and he does something, yeah, I mean, he could stick around. I think he's, possibly not as dynamic as Roman Anthony. So maybe people are a little bit colder on him as far as fantasy goes. So maybe that's why the bids were a little bit less. But yeah, I was shocked I got him for $1. I thought that was a pretty good deal. My major thoughts on him is I feel like best case scenario is he's Ozzy Albies. What we thought Ozzy Albies was going to be coming into this year. Obviously it would have to be prorated from this point forward. And that's also me saying best case scenario. So that's not most likely. That's just what I think Mayer could do. Like he has power and a bit of speed, and he should hit for, somewhat of a decent average. I see projections have him at around 245. I would bump that up to like probably 260. But yeah, so if you projected him out, if he were to get every day at bats from this point forward, you're looking at like 17 to 22 homers, 5 to 7 steals, 250 to 265 type average. That's good. I mean, that's basically at a second baseman. That's kind of like startable in just about all leagues except for the shallowest. Second base isn't that deep of a position, so that would probably put him in like the top 15 for second base. That's obviously, like I said, that's best case scenario. He's a rookie, so realistically, you're looking at a handful of homers, maybe a couple steals. And Bregman returns and he gets put into either a platoon of some sort or he gets sent down. But that's, that's sort of up in the air at this point. We don't know exactly what the Red Sox are going to do with him when Bregman returns. But I mean, that is a possibility that he gets, a few homers, few steals, and gets sent down. I mean, you never know. I think for the upside, though, that alone he's worth grabbing. He is not, as I said originally, he is not Roman Anthony. I think I don't think he is. And I can see, how people are maybe a little bit cooler on Mayer, where Roman Anthony, I think, he's going to be a stud. He looks like, a top 20 potential guy. Mayer, like I originally said with the comparison to Albies, I mean, Mayer could get to a top 30, top 40 type bat. I mean, that is a possibility. I don't think he's quite there right now, but you never know. I mean, I think he's worth the flyer though. So yeah, I mean, if you can get him and see what happens. I wouldn't drop anyone too valuable for him, but I would look at him in every league.
Yeah, I would look at him in every league as well. I think, it's worth taking the shot on him. He should get dual eligibility if he doesn't already have it in your league, third and short. So, yeah, absolutely give him a shot. And there's any number of ways he could potentially stick around. Whenever Bregman does return, he can move to first, shortstop, and they could sit down Story. I don't know if they're going to cut Story given that he's owed like $50 million over the next 2 years, but maybe they might, because if they're not going to play him, whatever, you might as well get the roster spot back. So, go ahead and add Mayer, and we'll see how long he sticks around. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to go ahead and see what happens here. Let's talk.
If I could too, because I mentioned that I got him for $1. That was a 12-team mixed league. That felt light. And for people, just if people are putting in bids for him in deeper leagues or whatever, in my 15-team leagues, he went for about $80. So, and that's in $1,000 fab. So, roughly $8 in 100. So it depends on how badly you need someone, depends on, how much money you have, obviously. In one league, he went for $260, which is too much. That person overpaid. But the other ones I do think were kind of in the right ballpark with when people bid around $80. That sounds right. I didn't personally bid $80 in those leagues, 15-team mixed leagues, but I do think $80 sounds about right. I think I bid like maybe in the 40s, but yeah, I didn't get them in those leagues. I was a little bit under, but yeah, I think it's like if you need a guy, then you bid a little bit more maybe, but yeah. So $80-ish is I think a proper fab bid on him for 15 teamers.
Yeah, I would say 80 to 120, again, depending on what kind of players available and how much you need them. I think that's kind of the right area. Let's talk about another call-up, Alejandro Acuna. 39 games this year at AAA, has 2 home runs, 9 stolen bases. He's hitting .279, 386, 416. He's an outfielder for the Rangers. What are your expectations for Acuna? Would you pick him up in a 15 team, or is this more of an only league shot?
I put in a bid in our league, actually, our AL only league that we're in together. I bid on him and I won him I got him for $7 out of 100. I probably overbid a little bit. I think I needed the bat, so I overbid a hair. And that's AL only, so that gives you an idea of what I think of him. But I'll just run over what I expect stats wise real quick. So he had 2 homers, 9 steals, 279 average. I don't see really power coming on any better than that when he's with the Rangers. I don't know if this is, this feels like a steals only play in a 15-team mixed league and deeper. I don't really see, I also wonder how good of an average he's going to have. Like he did, like I said, you said as well, 279 in the minors, but I don't think he makes really that hard of contact. So I'd be surprised if he hits 240. So steals potentially, and maybe an average, but he should play because they brought him up to play, and Jack Peterson fractured his hand, so they have room, even though Jack Peterson should have been out of the lineup anyway, because he was hitting 120. But yeah, I mean, I think Ozuna is fine for like a 15-team mixed league or deeper if you need steals. Otherwise, I would just ignore him.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. And as you mentioned, Jock to the IL, Evan Carter's already on the IL. So it seems like he's going to get at least a little bit of opportunity here to play. If you need an outfielder, you can take a shot on him, but I don't think either of us are expecting, any kind of crazy breakout or league-changing type of player. Speaking of league-changing players, though, we did get the return of Ronald Acuna Jr. this week. Let's just talk. I mean, it's about time. He's gonna help. Anybody who drafted him, and you're gonna feel a little better about your lineup, seeing him sitting in your outfield. Where should he rank rest of season, Gray?
I actually should write a reminder to myself for next year. If there's any guys like of the quality of Ronald Acuna Jr. that just write a small note to myself that says to open in March, right before you start drafting, that if there's any guy that is as good as Ronald Acuna Jr., just know that when he returned in 2025, I was the one league where I have him, I was in last place. So he's like, he can only do so much here. My league, I'm basically already out of it. And so I'm happy to see him come back. I don't know how much he can really do for me, though. Can he play 6 positions? Is that possible? I need a third baseman, a second baseman, a first baseman, and an outfielder. Can you do all that? Yeah. So I don't know. I do wish I was getting Ronald Acuna Jr. back on a team that was like in second place or something, and this would be like the shot in the arm that I needed. Instead, it's I mean, it's like I might be able to do a dead cat bounce if nothing else. Okay. Anyway, with all that said, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of interested. The biggest thing I'm really interested with Ronald Acuna Jr. is how much is he going to run, right? I would have loved to see him steal a base in the first weekend that he was back, but yeah, we didn't see that. I don't know. I think if everything is there as it usually is for him, but the steals are less, I guess it's going to come down to how less are the steals. I don't know if the steals are, say, like from now to the end of the season, if he only steals like 15 bags, which seems really very few for Ronald Acuna Jr. But I mean, we don't know, right? So if he steals only 15 bags, then you're looking at probably a 25 to 30 homer, 15 steal, 290 to 310 hitter, which is great. I mean, that's for only 4 months of a season. That's amazing. But I don't know if we were to get like, maybe 20 to 30 steals or 25 to 30 steals, then it would be like, okay, then we have back a first rounder easy. But I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get that. It'll be shocking to me to see him run like in a lot. Like he didn't steal any bags in the minors during his rehab stint, from what I see, at least in the stats. It doesn't look like he even attempted a steal. So yeah, I mean, it's like he left kind of as like a one of one, and Ellie De La Cruz, Corbin Carroll, one of these like top 5 guys that is like a one of one type player. And he's coming back as probably like Mookie Betts feels like a good comp, like a guy who has some speed, but isn't going to steal 30 bags, right? Like Mookie Betts is probably more of like a 15 steal guy at this point. And he has 25 to 30 homer power, neutrally. Obviously he can hit more or less, but neutrally 25 to 30 homers. And he's probably going to hit like 280. That sounds like, it sounds more or less like Ronald Acuna. I'd probably go Acuna over Betts, all things being equal, but Betts might be the safer bet. excuse the pun. He might be the safer bet at this point. I think Corbin Carroll over Ronald Acuna Jr. Julio Rodriguez is close, but I would probably go Julio Rodriguez over Ronald Acuna Jr. because there's no reason why J-Rod wouldn't steal bags. Even like it hurts my heart a little to say it, but PCA, P. Crow-Armstrong, probably him over Ronald Acuna Jr. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I think I would have him over Julio. Just if we're looking at it in regards to what they're going to give us. I mean, I get that you say Julio's probably going to run more. Power numbers are probably the same, probably a slight edge to Acuna, average to Acuna. So really, you're only going to get maybe a few more stolen bases from Julio, but even that I'm not sure of because, again, we don't know what Acuna is going to do. He could steal 10, he could steal 30, and either one would be, within the realm of possibility. So I think I would probably take Acuna over him. I'd take him over.
I'd say if this is like this is a debate show now. We're picking up, we're around the horn left. If we're looking at Julio Rodriguez, right, in his defense, I mean, Julio Rodriguez really stays on the field a lot. Whereas, I mean, you can't argue that Ronald Acuna Jr. just can't stay on the field as much as he used to or ever did. So, I mean, yes, Julio Rodriguez probably is going to have a lower average, even though Julio Rodriguez averages like 270 plus every year. I would say Acuna he still has an injury label on him. You can't say that like Ronald Acuna Jr. isn't like injury prone. I mean, he misses like every other year with an injury. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like Ronald Acuna Jr. Don't get me wrong. We're comparing him to like, top 12 guys overall. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would go Julio Rodriguez still. I hear what you're saying though.
Yeah, maybe it's just a little bit of Julio's season last year hanging around too, where just there were times last year where he was just awful and pretty much, unusable for fantasy. As long as Acuna's healthy, I don't see that becoming a thing. But I understand that, there is injury risk here. Like I think probably Julio's the line. Like I would PCA is a tough one. I think the way he's hitting right now, you'd pretty much have to go with him. But it's kind of a short track record versus the injury concern of Acuna. Which one do you want to bank on a little bit more?
All right. What about Mookie Betts?
I'd rather have Acuna than Betts, but that's just me. I'm really just not a Betts guy for fantasy.
Okay, what about Duran?
I'd probably take Duran. I mean, he's just rock solid, and he's going to steal. But that's kind of a, do you need power or still on bases more a little bit at this point in the season?
So you're putting Ronald Acuna Jr. roughly around top 12 to 15.
Yeah, he'd be top 15 for me at least.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I think I have him over. I would have him over Mookie, but I think those are. I feel like those are pretty close. Mookie and him probably would be 1A and 1B, sitting at around 12 to 15 overall.
Yeah, I think that's a risk, injury risk versus consistency type of play.
Yeah, totally.
What do you like? That's a personal thing. And Mookie didn't exactly finish all games last year, obviously. So it's a legitimate question there on those two. I think we figured it out though, at least a general idea where we're sticking Acuna rest of the season. If we come back next week and he's stolen 3 bases, then he probably jumps up to like top 3 or top 5 for us. But as of now, I think top 15-ish is the right area.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, great. We did some bad performers last week. Let's talk about some of the early season good performers and we're going to break it out, Gray. We're going to break out the Anchorman game. Scientific fact, Sex Panther, and I don't believe you. For those of you who are not familiar with the game and weren't with us last season when we played it, scientific fact means what they're doing is legitimate. They are what we've seen. Sex Panther, 60% of the time, it's right every time. So they're kind of in the middle. It's not quite what they're doing, but they're not bad. And then I don't believe you means I don't believe you, and probably trade them if you can at this point. Let's start. I mean, we already talked about him when we talked about Acuna. Pete Crow-Armstrong, 53 games this year, 225 plate appearances. He is 14-14, 41-48. He is hitting 286, 315, 576. He's a 23.5% K rate and a 4% walk rate. I mean, where do you stick Pete Crow-Armstrong on this? And then I guess we got to talk about like where does he fit in on the ranks among outfielders as well.
Well, I think I mentioned him with the Acuna. So he's definitely, for me, he's 100% scientific fact. Like he's no joke. He's been they did a scientific study where they asked 100 dentists, and 99 of them agreed that P. Crow-Armstrong is scientific fact. There's no question. He's 99 out of 100 believe P. Crow-Armstrong. I honestly, I would struggle to have, if someone said to me, like, I think Pete Crow-Armstrong is full of it and he's, I don't believe you, I would not listen to anything else that person said. I would be very, very questionable on that person. I think like he's got 40 plus steal speed and he can hit 25 homers. So it's like 25 and 40. You can only be so bad, right? I mean, that's basically Corbin Carroll. I mean, it's like, how bad can it be if you get 25-40 from him? I think the biggest question is probably going to be his batting average. But last year he hit 237. And this year it's at 286 as we record this. BABIP is a little bit higher this year, but not dramatically higher. And he's hit the ball harder. So if someone hits the ball harder and he has the speed that he has, it follows that his BABIP should be higher. So, and his strikeouts are basically the same. Like everything looks like right now he looks like a 265 hitter that is hitting 285. So, okay, so he loses 20 points in average. Big deal. If he hits 25 homers and steals 40 bags and hits 265, sign me up, man. Sign me up. sign me up. Scientific fact, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing everything you could possibly want from him at this point. I mean, let's talk about some of those names, against him. Would you rather him or O'Neal Cruz? I know that's maybe a low blow asking you about your boy, but what about O'Neal Cruz?
Well, that's a good person to illuminate how much I like Pete Crow-Armstrong, because I really do like O'Neal Cruz, and I would still go PCA over him.
Okay, how about the Jacksons? Would you go Merrill or Churio over PCA?
The Jacksons. I would go Joe Jackson over Marlon, but not over. I would probably go. I would go Jackson Churio still over Pete Crow-Armstrong, but they're real close. I mean, they're super close. And Jackson Merrill, I would probably go Jackson Merrill a little bit over Pete Crow-Armstrong, but again, they're super close, and it almost comes down to needs versus anything. I would say, I mean, they're like 1A, 1B, 1C. I mean, they're super close, but yeah, I would go Merrill and Churio. And also, I was looking at Churio today, just on a sidebar. And last year at this time, as of today, he had 5 homers and was hitting 211. So for the people who are really freaked out that Jackson Churio is not going to be worth the draft pick, just keep that in mind. And if anything, if you can buy him low from someone else, I would go out and get Jackson Churio.
Yeah, I mean, he's still the top 60 bat, and he's not even really hit his stride this season. So yeah, I don't mind the Churio. I think I'd put PCA over Merrill. I feel pretty safe about that at this point. I mean, I think I'd go PCA over Churio too. Just like what you want from Churio is what PCA is doing, basically. I mean, I expect it to slow down at some point a little bit, but I mean, at this point, it'd be hard for me to make that swap. I mean, we talked about Julio Rodriguez and Duran when we were talking about Acuna. I'm assuming if PCA is behind Churio and Merrill, that he's going to fall behind those guys.
Yeah, he's behind J-Rod and Duran. He's in front of Teoscar, though.
Okay. And I mean, if anybody's asking why I would ask these names, I mean, Pete Crow-Armstrong is the number 3 hitter on the player rater right now. So, if we're just looking at what's been done to this season, I mean, he's above a lot of people, so these names really aren't ridiculous to throw as a comparison. Let's move over to first base, where a couple of guys have shown up this season we didn't expect. Spencer Torkelson, the number 2 first baseman on the player rater right now, 53 games, 223 plate appearances, 13 home runs, a stolen base, 34-40. He's hitting 241, 350, 524, 24% K rate, 12.5% walk rate. Average exit velocity, hard hit, barrel are all up for him. Also, in looking at this, I realized that there's a low bar to be at a top first baseman this season.
Yeah, man. First base stinks. First base is terrible, man. I was saying earlier that like second base was bad, and second base is bad.
It's bad.
But first base isn't far behind. First base is pretty bad too, man. It's pretty bad. Yeah. I mean, the crazy thing is Pete Alonso seemed to be having a great year, and he's behind. He's at 4th on the player rater for first baseman. So he's behind Torkelson and Goldschmidt. Anyway, Torkelson is, I think right now he's a Sex Panther, and it's bordering on I don't believe you. But I'll go Sex Panther at this point, because I do think like he does have power. So, and I don't think that's going to necessarily just disappear as long as he's healthy. He seems like he can hit a home run. I do think he's probably a 230 hitter though, and he has no speed whatsoever. So at some point, if he's hitting like, if he ends the season with like 30 homers, next to no steals, and a 230 average, and it's like, it's so whatever. I mean, it's fine for where you drafted him. Enjoy it, I guess, unless you can trade him away for something else. If you can do that, then sure, go for it. But yeah, I don't really, if we're talking about a guy who doesn't really do anything but hit some homers and like a really weak average, I can only believe so much. I mean, so he's a Sex Panther at best.
Yeah, I would say Sex Panther as well. I mean, he is hitting the ball better this year. Exit velocity, hard hit, barrel, and you're going to hear that on most of these guys. All those are up. He's definitely hitting the ball better. But when you look at like the underlying numbers, nothing really stands out as significantly different. Like line drive, ground ball, fly ball, all kind of in line. Swinging strike is pretty much in line. Contact rate. Like all the numbers pretty much say he's kind of the same guy he's been, just squaring up a few more. So, maybe he's back to like what he did in 2023, which again is like 30 home runs, 230. Maybe it's 240 if he's hitting the ball, cleaner all season. But I would agree. I don't necessarily think he's, number 2 first baseman on the player rater type of guy rest of season. At this point, like we said, it's more about the position as a whole than what he's done. Let's talk about number 3 on the first baseman player rater, and that is Paul Goldschmidt, who you brought up briefly. He has 5 home runs, 4 stolen bases, and he's hitting 345 gray. He has a 15.9% K rate and a 7.5% walk rate. What are your thoughts on Paul Goldschmidt's kind of resurgence here? Is it real, or would you be trying to move him as fast as humanly possible?
Yes. Yes. The latter. I'll say I don't believe you, Paul Goldschmidt. I don't believe anything you're doing. I would say there's going to be a time in the near future where he's going to have he's either going to get injured, which, unfortunate in some ways, but probably it might be fortunate because he won't be able to regress if he gets injured. But there's going to be some point where he's either going to get injured or he's going to regress. And if he regresses, it's going to be he's going to have a 180. He's going to hit 180 for a month with no power, and it's going to be awful. It's going to be so miserable. I don't believe this at all. This is ridiculous what he's doing. He has a near 400 BABIP. I mean, the guy is 37 years old. I mean, come on, man. It's ridiculous. There's no way. There's just no way.
Yeah, but if that wasn't enough to convince you, he's one of the only guys on this list where hard hit, barrel, average exit velocity, all down. First strike rate way up, worst of his career. Swing percentage, worst of his career. Outside swing percentage, worst of his career. So it really just feels like he's getting the BABIP luck, which is driving the 345 BABIP or 345 average on the 400 BABIP. And eventually that's going to come crashing back to earth. And the home runs and stolen bases are not enough to buoy that kind of drop off when it happens. So yes, if you can move him, go ahead and do that. Let's move over to second base. Maikel Garcia is the number 3 second baseman on the player rater. And as we mentioned, it's not a great position, evidenced by the fact that he's the number 7 third baseman. But in 53 games this year, he has 5 home runs, 10 stolen bases. He's hitting 311, 376, 468. He has a 16% K rate and a 9.3% walk rate, both career bests. Average exit velocity, hard hit, barrel, all up from last year. Launch angles up a few degrees. 353 BABIP seems a little lucky, but what are your thoughts on Maikel Garcia, and can he keep this up?
Wow, I was just looking at how bad second base was. So bad. Wow, there's no players on the player rater at second base who have more than $20 worth of value. That's easily the worst position as far as that goes. To give you an idea, shortstop has 8 players with $20 or more worth of value. First base, which was bad, has 5 players with $20 worth or more. Second base has 0 players. Like, that's awful. I don't know if that's ever happened before. I'm not sure. Even catchers have 2 players that have $20 or more of value. Wow, that's really bad. Okay. So, all right. So, Miguel Garcia. Yeah, I mean, I wrote a preseason sleeper post on him. So I liked him in the preseason. I felt like he was a little bit undervalued. He did steal 37 bags last year. He's got 10 bags already with 7 caught stealings, which is really terrible. That's really bad too. But if he's going to steal 30 plus bags, he actually, this was a point I think I made in the preseason sleeper was he's good for average, better than I think people anticipate. He's hitting 311 right now, which does not seem sustainable, but he could hit 275. If he hits 275 with 30 plus bags, then all he does, then he hits, like he's got 5 homers right now. If he gets to 10 homers, 10, 30, 275, that's not a bad year. It's Sex Panther-ish, but I mean, I don't know. I think he's somewhat scientific fact as long as your expectations are in order.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a scientific fact as long as we're not trying to make him out to be something he's not. I agree. I think the average, while high, isn't gonna, I don't think it's bottoming out. And I mean, he's been playing really well this season up to this point. He's hit for good average both months. You did mention the caught stealings. He had 5 caught stealings in April and only 2 in May. So maybe they talked to him like, hey, we gotta knock off the caught stealings a little bit. We want you to run, but within reason here. So hopefully they've kind of gotten that under control. But yeah, I mean, as second base goes, if you got Maikel Garcia, you should be pretty happy because there's not been a whole lot of guys at the position that have been better than him, recently or just over the whole season. You mentioned the position, and the only person that's over $20 is in like Yahoo only, and that would be Mookie, and that's it. It's a gross position. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. If you have Maikel Garcia, be happy that you got him. Geraldo Perdomo, number 4 shortstop on the player rater, and we already talked about how good a position shortstop's been. 52 games, 224 plate appearances. He has 6 home runs, 11 stolen bases. He's hitting 304, 401, 475. He He has an 11% K rate and a 14% walk rate, both career bests. The StatCast numbers are not impressive, but they are all better than what he's ever shown, really. And the line drive rate is his career best. Is Perdomo for real?
I don't believe you.
Not at all. You're just out completely, huh?
I don't. Yeah, no, and I would say that I'd venture that the Diamondbacks don't necessarily believe him either because they have him hitting ninth. So I don't think I'm not sure if he believes himself, but I don't believe him, and I don't think the Diamondbacks believe him. So there's nothing left. There's nothing left for me there. I think he's probably a decent bat for like a deeper league. Is fine. Like if you're in like a 15 team mixed league or deeper, because I don't think his average is necessarily that crazy over where it should be. Like he's probably a 280 hitter. 280 hitter with some speed, it's fine for a deeper league. But yeah, I think he had a good, he had a good month. And he's sort of dragged that on into like having a good 6 weeks. But yeah, I mean, he's hitting ninth for the Diamondbacks, which, they're a decent lineup, but still hitting ninth, it's like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, that's not exactly the vote of confidence that you'd hope to have from, somebody who's been as good as he's been. And I mean, yes, he's been really good, and if you've had him, I hope you've enjoyed it. Would you rather have Perdomo or back to life Javi Baez?
I would go Perdomo because I don't think Baez is. I don't believe Baez either. I don't believe either of them. I have a hard time trusting Baez, but I mean, Baez has looked good. Don't get me wrong. I would go Perdomo because, I mean, he looks like he at least should be able to maintain his average, and he has speed, and they're both kind of on power anyway. So, yeah, I'd go Perdomo.
Okay, how about Perdomo or Mason Wynn?
I go Mason Wynn.
Okay. Perdomo or your former boy, now not either of our boy, Bo Bichette?
No, go Perdomo. Everyone over Bo Bichette. Everyone. Liam Hicks, the backup catcher on the Marlins, over Bo Bichette.
All right, great. Let's move over to the outfield. Kyle Stowers is currently number 15 on the player rater. Yes, you heard that correctly. Kyle Stowers, number 15 outfielder on the player rater. Just under 200 plate appearances, Gray. He's hitting 309. He's got 10 home runs, 3 stolen bases. The 27.6% K rate and 9% walk rate, both improvements over last year. What are your thoughts on Kyle Stowers? Can he keep up, the good start to the season?
Yeah, I think actually I would say he is more scientific fact than Sex Panther. I liked Stowers. I think there could be something here. I think his numbers aren't necessarily like screaming regression is coming. I think there could be potential here for at least for what he's doing. Like he's got an over 40% hard hit rate. So it's solid. And he's also, he's striking out less than he was as of like the last few cups of coffee, I will say. I don't really even think he never even really had a large enough sample size to, say that was going to be a strikeout rate, but he is striking out less. So that's good. I do think there is a little bit of luck involved with his 309 batting average, though. I do think he's probably closer to like a 260 hitter, but 260 is not bad. I mean, that I would take 260 with 30 homers and 7 steals, which looks like where he's headed. So if he gets to 30 homers, 7 steals, and a 260 average, that's a win all around for Kyle Stowers. And that I think that's scientific fact.
All right. You like you some Kyle Stowers. I'd probably put him more in the Sex Panther just because I feel like it's just been a little lucky. Like the average is a little lucky, the home runs is a little lucky, so I expect those all to come down a little bit. But I agree that it's not something where I think it's just complete luck and he's going to fall off the map either. So I'm going to go Sex Panther on that one. But it sounds like you're liking yourself some Kyle Stowers.
I'll say this. I wouldn't trade him for Trevor Rogers.
Okay. That's a very interesting pool, but yeah, absolutely great. Let's move on to the number 16 outfielder on the player rater, and that is Helio Ramos. 9 home runs, 3 stolen bases. He's hitting 281, 345, 472. He has a 23.3% K rate and a 7.2% walk rate. The numbers are pretty much in line with what he's done, if not maybe just slightly down from last year, and still performing. So what are your thoughts on Ramos?
He's another guy who I wrote a preseason sleeper for him. I liked Ramos a lot coming into this year. I kind of wish I was a little bit more aggressive with him. Even with that said, though, I liked him and I was, fairly aggressive on trying to draft him. So I definitely want him to be, scientific fact. I don't know if it's really that quite yet. Like he looks similar to last year, which was a decent year. It's fine. Like if he gets to, 25 homers, 7 steals, and a 260 average, that's totally fine. I don't think that's a bad year at all, but that's probably it's a little bit Sex Panther-y, and it's not quite as scientific fact as I think people might want to believe, but he's had a solid season so far, and they've sort of cemented him in the leadoff spot. If he stays at leadoff, and keeps hitting, it could be scientific fact. I like him though. I'm all about him. Like I have no problems with anything he's done so far. Other than I think it's, it could become a little yawn inducing if it falls even a tad bit back from where he is. So right now he's doing solid, but if he does a little bit less than this, it might suddenly become, because he's not a big steals guy, so it might become a little bit like, it's okay. But right now it's solid. So I would absolutely ride it for sure.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Ian Happish. Like, it's not going to be sexy. You're not going to love starting him, but at the end of the season, he's going to have home runs. He's going to have some stolen bases. The average isn't going to kill you, and he's going to have the counting numbers of somebody who hits at the top of the order.
Good comp. Yeah. Ian Happ for sure.
All right, Gray. Thank you for that. Let's move over to the bullpen, Gray, and SAGNOF it up. Let's start with my Cubbies, Gray. Porter Hodge, the IL. Thank goodness. That's just going to save at least a couple of blown saves for the Cubs by that just in default. Who do you think's the guy to own there now, though?
I'm sure Daniel Palencia is going to be the fix that they need.
Hey, he's been great this season, Gray.
He'll fix everything. He's been fine. We'll see. I mean, he did have a 6-something ERA last year, so we'll see how long this lasts. But that wasn't a small sample size, and it was, with relievers, it's silly to look at ERA. So all that aside, I think Daniel Palencia is the guy to roster and see how long it lasts. I mean, if he gets like a couple more saves in a row, Porter Hodge may come back to be the 8th inning guy. Like it wasn't like the Cubs were like, we have to have Hodge dragging their feet with Ryan Presley forever. So I mean, I think Palencia could potentially be the closer for the year if he can hold the job which, I mean, he could. He just has, his command is a little wonky.
Yeah, his command is a little wonky at times, but he's been good this season. He's in the role right now. So go ahead and grab him. I think if it's not him, I think next guy up is probably, Drew Pomerantz is probably going to get an occasional lefty there. Just if it's a very heavy lefty one. And I guess Brad Keller is the next in line if they both fail.
They were like, the Cubs were like, what is this in the first line of Mariano Rivera's Wikipedia page? It says, failed starter becomes greatest closer of all time. What can't we find ourselves a failed starter somewhere?
That's Brad Keller and Drew Pomerantz, the next up. That's what they're doing, and it's not worked for the Cubs really.
Speaking of failed starters, wait till you hear what the Rangers are trying to do.
Yes, that might be even more interesting, Gray. The Rangers are gonna supposedly give Kumar Rocker a chance in the bullpen and potentially get saves. I mean, nothing like taking your top pitching prospect or one of them and changing it. He is on the AL, so he's coming back, but they're talking about this as he's coming back and what his role looks like when he's back.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There might be something there because like Kumar Rocker, I believe he was drafted by the Mets, and then there was injury concerns, so they let him go, and he went back in the draft, and the Rangers took him. So there's been injury problems with him. So similar to like Mason Miller, who had injury issues as a starter, and then the A's converted him to a closer, and that's worked. Well, it worked last year. It's working less this year. But, maybe it works with Kumar Rocker. Maybe there's something to it. It's not like anyone else is really clicking in the Rangers bullpen. I mean, they tried Luke Jackson for a while, and he was awful. I would say probably if I had to guess, if it's not Kumar Rocker when he returns, I would say Robert Garcia is probably the only guy I would really look at, and he's a lefty, so I know that I can imagine Bruce Bochy doesn't want a lefty closing games. So take it with a grain of salt. But like Sean Armstrong has been fine, but is he really the closer? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean he's been okay, but yeah, he's had a couple of blowups here and there as well. They don't really have an answer right now. So yeah, I mean, maybe take a look at Rocker, but for now, until Rocker gets back and gets that opportunity, I think it's Robert Garcia. He's been fine, just not great. Over in Arizona, Gray, what are your thoughts here? I mean, it looks like Shelby Miller maybe is taking over the role. But it's still a little bit confusing.
Yeah, no, Justin Martinez, he returned. I believe that right now, I think that Arizona's entire MO with their bullpen is Shelby Miller is our best reliever, and that's the reason why we're not letting him close games. I think that's it. That doesn't make sense, but that seems to be what's going on there because he's clear as day their best reliever so far, but they have not committed to Shelby Miller at all. So I guess Justin Martinez, he returned this weekend, immediately gave up runs because he doesn't have a shoulder that's working. Ginkel's been terrible. Beeks has been okay, but he's a lefty. So I don't know. I would guess Justin Martinez until he hits the IL again due to his shoulder, and then Shelby Miller. So I don't know. I'd probably roster Shelby Miller if I had room, but I believe Justin Martinez probably is the closer right now.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and just roster Shelby Miller. Martinez got the save opportunity and promptly blew it in his first save back. So nobody's been good in that bullpen, if being honest. So nobody really deserves it. But I think if you're going after somebody, Shelby Miller, Justin Martinez. But again, it's not a great situation. Speaking of not a great situation, how about over Miami, Gray? Who's getting saves there?
Ronnie Rehnquist, Chief Justice Rehnquist is the closer now, I believe. I didn't hear anything about him becoming the closer. I didn't research it at all either. So that's kind of on me a little bit, but I mean, it seemed like it was Foucher. Then it seemed like it was definitely Tanaka. Then it was like definitely Bender. And now it's like, oh, it's definitely Rehnquist, which is, I guess, like what they do in Miami. They just like suddenly they declare a guy a closer for like 3 days, and then someone else just becomes the closer. So I don't know. I mean, he looks good though. Ronnie Rehnquist, Chief Justice Rehnquist looks great so far. He's got a 1.78 ERA, 12 plus K per 9. I mean, he's blowing people away. So I don't know. Maybe they've stumbled on something down there in Miami. I actually put in bids for him in a lot of leagues, just in case. I don't know what they're going to do. I think it's probably a more fluid situation than it seems, but I don't know. I guess like Bender, Foucher, and Tanaka haven't really been good. So why not go with the guy who's been really good? And so far, Ronnie Chief Justice Rehnquist has been really good.
Yeah, Ronnie Enriquez has gotten the save, and Jason got some junk. He actually got a save as well, and he's been performing
Jansen
well.
And Jansen, Junk, and Chief Justice Rehnquist. Henriquist. When I say I said Rehnquist. What did I say? I said Chief Justice Rehnquist.
It's okay, Gray. This is why we don't actually look at the pronunciation guide that you have access
this is why
to.
People are sending me trades for Hunter Green and offering me McAble. They're like, at least you can pronounce McAble.
And I mentioned Jason Junk got a save. That was a 5-inning save. He came in as a second starter option, so not really in the closer picture, but I just wanted to mention his name because he did get a save. And this bullpen, who knows? It could be literally anybody gets the next save in Miami. Waiver wire, Greg. Give the people some bats. I'll give them some pitchers, and we'll get out of here.
Oh, okay. So let's see. Let's run down the guys who have been hot. Okay, so Ryan O'Hearn has been really hot for the Orioles, first baseman outfield eligibility. Gavin Sheets, exact same eligibility, exactly as hot. Then you have Caleb Dorbin, Brewers, second baseman, third base eligibility. He's been really hot. He got hot immediately after I dropped him, so that's nice. Abraham Toro has actually been hot for the Red Sox. He's been playing first base for them. And I believe he's not really good. Sorry. Anyway, Brett Beatty is starting to get hot. I don't know why the Mets continue to bat him ninth, though. I kind of wish they would move him up in the order. But, yeah, he's been hot. Connor Norby's been hot. Sal Frelick has been hot. Leody Taveras has actually been hot for the Mariners after he got traded away. Jake Myers has been hot. Carlos Santana, the baseball player, not the singer, has been hot. Jesus Sanchez has been leading off for the aforementioned Marlins and has been hitting. He's been hitting, and he's been hitting well, okay? Jorge Solar has actually been doing something recently, and he's the type of guy who when he gets hot, he gets hot. And then you have Adam Frazier, is that right? Adam Frazier is hitting 475 in the last week. That's the first I'm hearing of this. So yeah, I guess Adam Frazier's been hot. So there's some names.
Yeah, that's some names. Great. Looking over on the pitching side, Jeffrey Springs at Toronto, Bailey Falter at San Diego, Dean Kramer versus the White Sox, Zach Littell versus Minnesota and at Houston, Eric Fetty at Texas, David Peterson versus Colorado, and Noah Cameron versus Cincinnati. There's a few names for you. It's not a great week for streamers. There's a lot of bad matchups, so maybe just if those guys aren't available, I'll just sit this week out and come back next week and for more streaming options. If you have specific questions, you can always find us on Twitter. I'm at RazBeaton. Gray is the owner of the at Razzball account. You can find us on youtube.com/Razzball Fantasy or Razzball.com in the comment sections. Best of luck setting your lineups. Hope everything goes well, and I will talk to you later, Gray.
All right, ladies.